Hey everyone, this is Cece Schatz and you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And I am excited. We have a brand new show here tonight. It's called Health, Love, and Life with Arnie. How do you spell pronounce your last name?
Fonseca.
Fonseca. Arnie Fonseca Jr. So it's Health, Love, and Life. So I love the title, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about the hopeful principle. So let's turn the show over to Arnie and let him do his thing.
All right. Well, thank you, Cece, and I'm very pleased that you've extended the opportunity to speak to your tribe, and hopefully to build a tribe here, and hopefully some of my folks will drift on over. I know that a lot of times when we start these new endeavors, it takes a while, but that's okay. So what I want to do tonight with everybody is just kind of introduce myself, share a little bit about my background and a little bit about the title. And then Cece did mention about hopeful, and maybe that's a nice stepping stone into my background. First of all, I'm a teacher and a coach, and I've been doing that for about 40 years. Been sharing lately how I coached my first team 40 years ago in 1979, high school football. How's that? And so I've been called coach for a long time. And so any of you out there, call me Coach Arnie. And if you look me up on Facebook, my page is Coach Arnie. You can Google that as well, and you can find a lot of information about me over the years. And but my background for about 30 years here has been brain and spinal cord rehabilitation. So I've worked with a lot of people that have just struggled with really horrific things happening in their life. And from that, I've developed a lot of strategies about relationships, because for me, it's all about, communication. It's all about relationships. Life is about relationships. And so when we learn to get along better with each other, things happen for us in our lives. And the problem that if you look around the world today, we're not getting along. And part of that is through communication. So one of the things I like to teach is effective communication. And again, that's how we build relationships after we learn and understand about people, because this is what I know. We all want to be understood, and we all want to be encouraged. So the only way we're going to change what's happening in our own world is to better understand the people around us, because it's not about us. See, if I want to be in a relationship with anybody, whether that's an intimate relationship or a business or friendship relationship, it is up to me to understand them. It is not up to them to understand me. Now, eventually, that relationship will go the other direction, meaning south, if the other partner doesn't understand you. Because we can only go so long in a relationship that's one-sided. But never, ever walk into a relationship thinking that it's, going to be both sides, 100%, 100%. The old adage 50-50 is not what a relationship is about. A relationship is about 100% and 100%. So, and this I've learned through just a long time of being married and a long time of just working with people, in the real world. So, because what happens when we walk into a relationship that we think is 50-50, we get disappointed very quickly. Remember, I just shared this a few minutes ago with a new client, a young man who basically, I would say he got his knees cut out from underneath him, which is what happens to most men in relationships when they find out that all of a sudden, it's not going well. Because for guys, we're not very smart. we have a lizard brain, and which means it's not very complicated. So you ladies out there, quit trying to think that we're so God, so smart. I was going to say something. I'm not sure how what the language parameters here, but we're not that smart. So quit trying to think that we are. Versus your brain is a little more complicated. So he kind of got his knees cut out from underneath him about his relationship. So it's all about learning about the other person. It's about the other person. And as we get into the second half of my title, which is love, we're going to learn about that. We're going to learn about, what it takes to be in a successful relationship besides hard work. And that's if you want to. As I told him tonight, I said, hey, look, over the next 90 days, you're going to decide whether or not you want to be in this thing. Because I got news for everybody. When they look in your eyes, your partner, and they can see, and you can look in their eyes and you can see too, are they in this thing? Because like I said, there's only so long that we can stay in a relationship that's one-sided. And since I'm in the love category for a few minutes, let's stay here for a second. Let me go over what I call my 3 levels of love. Level 1 is you have to love me. Now, besides a few places around the world, well, I shouldn't say a few, probably a lot of places in the world, that's how it works. And it's usually on the male side, the male demanding love. Now, in the real world, though, guess what? That doesn't create a lot of passion. Because if I tell somebody they have to love me, I'm not going to garner a lot of passion with that authoritative approach. But I got news for you. In a lot of places in the world, that's how it works. That's how it works. Doesn't work real good here in the United States and probably in most of Europe. Doesn't work. Now, on the second level, this is where love and relationships generally end up. And it probably started, this got exposed, let's say, in the 1960s. I call it horse trading, meaning that I'll love you if you do this for me. And so a lot of women for many, many years, up until the 1960s, would marry for safety and security and money. And they figured, well, I'll have kids and they'll love me. And they were right. They were right. Kids do love you unconditionally. Your children will love you unconditionally until there was a miscalculation there, you ladies, that when kids become old enough to become attracted to the opposite sex, they now want to be in their own relationships. And all of a sudden that unconditional love is interrupted because now they're in their own relationships. And so women now are staring at the fella across from them in the easy chair thinking, who the heck is this guy? Because they weren't in love with him. And so we started to see this it started along and then it became very, very prevalent in the late 70s and early 80s where the divorce rate skyrocketed. Because now women were going to go out and find love. They were going to go find love, okay? Because it wasn't at home with them. Because that's not what they married for. It was transactional back then. Even though today, I'm not surprised anymore because the more and more couples I work with and individuals I work with from a dating standpoint, that there is a lot of confusion out there, meaning that a lot of people think that relationships are and should be transactional. But, I basically have to put them in their place pretty quickly because that's not how it is. Now, if that's what you want, then that's something you're going to have to work on yourself. Because people that want to be in transactional relationships, if they're looking for love or passion, they're not going to find it. And there's still a lot of that mindset out there. That's the old mindset of the 50s and 60s, where you married somebody because they could give you something. So that's level 2, horse trading, transactional. Now, level 3 is unconditional love. We all want that. I don't know anybody, I can sit anybody in my office, or I'll meet them anywhere on this, well, I shouldn't say the planet. I'll meet them anywhere in the United States, and I'll sit them down over a nice cold drink, and I'll look them right in the eye, and unless they're lying through their teeth, which I'll be able to tell, they all want to be loved unconditionally. That means without judgment. And you know why I know that? Because when they take surveys around the world, one of the top 2 fears on the planet is I'm never going to be loved. I'm never going to be loved. There's a massive fear out there. And for men, that creates a lot of problems because they do dumb things for love. They do dumb things for love. And instead of trying to attract it, they try to go chase it because they don't understand. We all miss that how to be in love class, okay? It's an emotion. And so because of the fear, though, fear will make us do crazy things, really nutty, crazy things. And so when we find what we perceive to be unconditional love, man, we don't want to lose it. And so again, we do dumb things to not lose it. And that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about as we move along in the show here. But because I could do a whole show just on that alone, because unconditional love is a special feeling that if you haven't had it in your life, and I've actually had to examine my own life about that. And, you know, and I even told my wife this. I said, you know, there was one person in my life that I knew loved me unconditionally. And I'm talking about even my kids, because, you know, your kids do love you unconditionally, but they always want things from you too, as well as certain behaviors and stuff. But my grandmother was the kind of person that I could have been a mass murderer and it wouldn't have mattered. You know, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, she smothered me with love. It didn't matter whether I went to school. It didn't matter if I had a great job. She never asked me about that stuff. The only thing she would ask me about was when I started doing, I did some original research back in the 80s with older people. That's how I got into neurology and neurological stuff. And she would always tease me, are you still working with those old ladies? And that's the only thing she ever asked me about what I did. And she knew I was a school teacher. She knew I was a coach. She knew all that stuff, but she didn't care. She didn't care. And that's why I always found time to stop by and say hi. I made time. And that's what unconditional love will do for you guys and ladies. People will make time for you. You become a priority in their lives, because who doesn't want to be around that? I don't know anybody, like I just said, I don't know anybody, unless they're lying, that doesn't want to be around unconditional love, because you know it when you got it. You know it. There's no judgment. And one of the things I've seen in society today, which really is bothersome to me and scary to a point, is we are so judgmental, especially some of the younger generation who talk about, you know, inclusivity and all that stuff today, and everybody's equal and this and that. But I'm finding more judgment today than I've seen in my whole lifetime. I just turned 60, and I'm seeing so much judgment out there, and it's really screwing with stuff. So, but unconditional love means exactly what it says, without conditions. I will love you no matter what. No matter what. Now, here's the problem. That's level 3 love. So if you're with somebody that's level 2, that's okay. It works that way. When I do any of my coaching, it's generally one or the couples is at level 2 and one's at level 3. The one that got their knees cut out from underneath them is usually at level 3. They just love them. The one at level 2 is looking for something, some kind of transaction. So my job as a coach is to bring them up to level 3, because the person at level 3 will get worn out. Because when you love somebody unconditionally, it can only last so long, unless you're my grandma. Okay? It wouldn't have mattered to her. But that's an awful heavy lift to ask somebody to do who you're in an intimate relationship with. Awful heavy lift. Don't expect it, because you're going to be disappointed. So what does that mean? That means you have to change. I can't change you. Your partner cannot change you. Don't expect them to. Man, if I hear one more time at a workshop that some dude's going to marry some lady that's going to change him, I'm going to hit him in the face, right in the mouth, because it's not going to happen. That is such old thinking. I'm talking old from 60, 70 years ago. I'm going to marry her and she's going to straighten me up. No, no, no. You are going to straighten you up. No one else is going to. Do not put that burden on some other human being. That is a mistake. And it's going to create a hardship in your relationship from day one. So don't do it. I don't care how much money you got. It's not going to work. It will not work. It'll cause you misery, which is why people many times that have a lot of money are very miserable when it comes to relationships, because these strategies, these tools that I'm talking about tonight, they don't listen to them, because they think that money, good looks, fancy car, lots of jewelry, lots of gifts, they think that takes care of it. It's superficial and lasts only so long, and then the bottom falls out, and then you have nothing, okay, except a lot of heartache and misery. So we don't want to play at level 2 and level 3 for very long. So we got to bring them up together. So because when you do love somebody unconditionally, both sides, now you can play what I call pitch and catch, because somebody's going to take turns. Hey, it's my turn tonight to be wonderful to you. No, it's my turn. No, it's my. That's a fun place to be. That's a playful place to be in your life. Okay. And the only reason I don't talk about level 4, I call it the Gandhi love. That means you're going to love somebody even when they're trying to kill you. All right. And I don't expect that. I don't expect anybody in our society to be there unless you want to be Gandhi or Mother Teresa. And God bless you if you do. But at the same time, I don't expect anybody to be in a relationship with that. So that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about when we talk about love, guys. When we talk about love, it's a great topic. It's a scary topic, because the 2 biggest fears in the world, never going to be loved, and I'm not good enough. And I tell you what, every couple I work with, I don't care who they are, one or both feel that they're not good enough in that, they're made to feel they're not good enough in that relationship. And nobody likes that feeling, whether you're in a relationship at home or you're in a relationship at work. It's a horrible feeling to have that feeling of not being enough. And again, for men, it causes us to do dumb things. And for some women, it does too. Women, you're not getting off scot-free here. You do dumb things too to prove that you are enough of something, whatever that might be. Good looking enough, smart enough. I see it all the time in the workplace. Ladies will try to prove themselves in the workplace, instead of just being who they are. You'd be surprised the dumb things that happen because of that and the problems it causes too. So those are the 2 big fears. I'm never going to be loved, and I'm not good enough. So think about that. So let's back up a little bit now. Let's talk about health. And because of my background, I'm an exercise physiologist. Like I said, I coached my first football team 40 years ago. So I've been coaching and teaching for a long time. But when I went to school for my master's degree, it was about exercise science and wellness. So to me, that kind of stuff is easy. It's like falling out of bed. But for many of us in our country, it's really hard, and it's causing a lot of problems for us, especially as we get older. And because if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we don't place ourselves at a high enough value, and one of the things I do for a lot of folks is we do a values assessment. And for those of you that are over 50, if your number one value besides God, in my life it's God, or whatever you look to spiritually, and so in my alignment, it goes God, then it goes Arnie. And this is what drives a lot of people crazy. I was actually at an event one time, and they brought in a rapper who had his struggles. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. He had some struggles in his relationship. So him and his wife wrote a book, and they were going around to churches all over the country talking about their book. And he went through his values assessment. And I'm sitting there ready to take some good notes and learn. And you know where he put himself? Last. And I almost jumped out of my chair and said, no, that's wrong. That is so wrong. And I've gone toe-to-toe with people on that all day long, because it's easy. Because if you can't fill your cup up first, if you don't love yourself unconditionally first, you've got nothing else to give to anybody. You're always going to be in that transactional phase of a relationship. You'll be doing things for people because you think you have to. No, you want to do things for people because you can. Because it's flowing out of you. Because you've got so much love for yourself that it flows out of you. And you're just giving away all the overflow to people. That is an unconditional relationship. And if you're not valuing yourself first, which means your health, what good are you to anybody if you're always sick? What good are you to anybody if you have low energy? What good are you to anybody if you're not taking care of yourself? I met a wonderful lady the other night. We had a great conversation. Her husband just passed away in February. And she told me, she goes, I gave up. 3 years ago, I told him, about his health. And I did everything I could for him for years and years and years to help him, to encourage him to eat better. She loved him. She was married almost 30 years. And he finally, she gave up 3 years ago. And he died in February because of all the complications from diabetes and all the other things, which if you could show somebody, maybe they would change, maybe not. I don't know. But, when you have diabetes, is like the number one thing in this country. And, it starts off real subtly. It's kind of like boiling a frog. Everybody thinks it's funny when they go to the doctor and they got high blood sugar. And the doctor doesn't know much about it, except they read it on a blood test. And they tell you, well, cut back on your cookies and cakes. Oh, no. It's more than that. It's a lot more than that. Because it just slowly starts to build. And before you know it, you've got some serious health problems. And so that's a simple one. Diabetes can be reversed, almost 100% of the time. I actually have run into somebody recently who has evidence in his program of reversing type 1 diabetes if he can catch it soon enough. That's amazing. And it's just diet and exercise and some other simple things that we can all do that are free. They're free. So, but if you're diabetic, if you're in a intimate relationship, you're going to have trouble, performing in the bedroom. All these issues come up, guys. And I used to work with this one gentleman who was a coach as well. Wonderful people as far as nutrition and stuff. And when men have these big bellies, and it's just a mess, guys. It's a mess, and then you're sad because you can't find somebody. Well, I got news for you. If you want to attract a certain individual in your life and your health is a wreck, what makes you think you're going to attract that person? You are fooling yourself. It just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't, which is why you do dumb things, guys, to try to find that person. what you need to do is you need to look in the mirror and you need to give yourself a self-assessment. What do you need to do to attract who you want? When I do a workshop on relationships, I have people create some lists. This is a magical formula. I'm going to give it to you right now. This is the biggest takeaway you're going to get out of this talk tonight. Biggest. Because if any of you out there that do it, I guarantee you it works. And let me know about it. Send me an email or you can call me, text me. I want to hear about it. Go to Facebook, Instagram, doesn't matter. And I'll give you all those areas to find me. But I want to hear about it because it works. And that's this. Make a list. Sit down. Get a nice cool drink. Sit down at the table. Grab a notepad with an old-fashioned pen or a pencil. And write down everything you want in a partner. Everything. I mean, it can be a book. I mean, color of hair, color of eyes, how they smell, how they dress, how they look, how tall they are, where they're from, what language they speak, how they talk to you. I don't care. Everything. Everything. Parents, the car they drive, the color of their shoe. I don't care. Everything. Every single detail. As minute as possible. And then I want you to finish that list because it could take a while. I want you to slide back in your table, on your chair. Take a couple deep breaths. Take a couple drinks. If you have to get up and go to the bathroom, go do that. Come back and I want you to look at that list. And then I want you to look at yourself. And then I want you to write down another list, list number 2. And that's everything that you need to change in yourself to attract what's in list number 1. And you're the only person on this planet that's going to be able to know that because you're the one that has to look in the mirror every morning. And if you need whatever it has to be, I don't know what it is, guys. I really don't know because I don't know what it is in list number 1. But I know this, you do. And if you'll be honest with yourself, that list number 2 will be all the things that you need to be working on. All of them. And that's where coaching comes in. That's where I help those individuals and say, okay, here we go. Let's roll up our sleeves and go to work. I'm going to help you achieve what's in list number 2. I'm going to help you, whatever it might be. Get a better job, new hairstyle, lose some weight, make more money. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you think it is. Hey, some of you guys might think a fancy car is going to do it. That's fine. We'll help you get a fancy car. But whatever that is, that's your deal, not mine. It's not my list, your list. So list number 2 is you. List number 2 is 100% you. Because see, once you go through a workshop like that, you are now 100% responsible for your life. Okay? No more complaining. No more blaming. No more excuses. No more it's mom's fault or dad's fault or my bad relationship, my first wife, my second wife. I don't really care. And that goes both ways, ladies. It's 100% you now. Because you have now become 100% responsible for your life. Because you can change everything on that list if you want to. Because remember, this is a great book. If you're looking for a great book, it's Man's Search for Meaning. And it's not just for men, ladies, because Dr. Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book, psychiatrist in Germany back in the 1930s, 40s, he was in 3 different concentration camps. And he literally can tell when a man was going to die by looking in his eyes. He knew because they all were going through the same hell. But he realized something, that we all have control. They can take everything away from us. Everything. They can take every stitch of hair on your head, which they did. They can take every piece of clothing from you, which they did. They can take everything. They can take your name away from you. which they did, except for one thing. You know what that one thing is? How you respond to what life does to you. That's it. So you're 100% responsible. It's not, so whatever you put on list number 1, if you want it, do what's necessary to attract it. If you don't bitch. Don't complain. Okay? Don't blame anybody else. It's you. Okay? It's 100% you. But that's okay. Because see, up until now, you didn't know that. But now you do. I don't care if you're 20, 50, or 70. Doesn't matter. Now you know. Get it? Go now. Now you can work on it. Fix it. Make it better. So that's list number 2. List number 3 is, what are your non-negotiables? See, a lot of us, man, we find that magical person and we go, oh man, look at this. I found her, or I found him. This is my true love. He's so wonderful. And then all of a sudden things happen in the dating process. And hopefully we are dating, because if we're not, we're making a mistake. Swipe left and swipe right is cool. But if you're missing the dating part of this thing, you're missing out on an opportunity to figure out who you're dating. Get it? You got to learn about people. So you got to have non-negotiables too. 3 to 5, maybe 5 might be too many, but 3, you better have some red flags. And and this is the harsh reality. Could be culture. The person I was coaching today, it was culture. Okay. When you have 2 different cultures, I'm telling you, it's hard. And you better be ready for that. You better, in the old days, say, gird your loins, because you're in for a battle, because you cannot change other people. Remember that. And so when you're fighting a cultural battle, you better be ready. Culture's a big one. That's a red flag. Most of the ladies I coach today, first thing out of their mouth, drugs and alcohol. Ain't putting up with it. And you know why? Because we all know what we don't want. If I started off with list number 1 and say, all right, everybody, write down everything you don't want. Man, that list gets big, because we've had relationships over the years. We've been married. We know what we don't like. Hopefully we're not repeating that. Okay? Because there is no such thing as a bad relationship if we learn from it. It's an opportunity to learn. That's all it is. It's not a failure. It's learning. It's an opportunity. It's failure if you keep doing the same stupid stuff over the time. That's the problem, though. Men and women keep doing the same stupid stuff because we're attracted to the same type of person. Dumb. So you better have a non-negotiable list, and you better hold to it. I don't care how good they are in bed. I don't care how wonderful they are on a date. I don't care how much money they make. If you're staring at a red flag day in and day out, you're not going to be happy. And at some point, it's going to come to a head, and you may look back and go, man, I just wasted 3, 5, 10 years. I'll give you a great little anecdotal story here. I want to keep this under time here. But I was talking to a dating coach yesterday. She's a wonderful lady, friend of mine in California, and she got divorced 10 years ago, and she's been married now for the last 7 years. And she goes, Arnie, I had so much fun dating. I had a ball. Because she had been learning this stuff. She went out there and was having a grand time dating. And she told her husband, you better not mess around on me, because I had way too much fun dating. I'll go right back and start dating again. So she kind of let him know. But she loves him, and they're celebrating I think it was their 7th anniversary or something like that. Something like that. But she was so happy. What a great spirit. But she was out there learning. She was learning through the dating process. It wasn't torture. Dating doesn't have to be torture if you're learning. It's a game. It's fun. It's life. It's torture if you're going out there and trying to make other people behave. No, you're not. You're just learning. You're learning about people. And you find people that match and you find people that don't. Move on. Good grief. If we're so worried about being loved, remember fear. Fear makes us do stupid things, and that includes in the dating process. Okay? But listen to me. Alignment. Let's go back to that for a second, real quick, because I want to finish this. We'll get the fourth list here in a second. If your alignment is right, God, then Arnie, which means I love me more than anything else on the planet next to God. That means more than my wife. That means more than my kids. Because see, if I don't love myself enough, where it's overflowing, I'm not going to be what my wife wants or needs. I can't. It doesn't work that way, guys, because you're going to be giving things away from an empty, half-filled cup. So you got to love yourself. It means you got to nurture yourself. You got to eat good. You got to exercise. 50% of the people in this country don't exercise. When we get into health, we're going to cover some really scary stuff about health. 50% of us don't exercise in this country, even though we think we should be with all the apps and things going on with this phone here. And you can do all these fancy stuff. We think people are all over the gym. No, they're not. They appears that way, but they're not. So 50% are not exercising. Okay. So you got to do all these things for yourself. You got to make time. You got to schedule time to love yourself. You got to schedule times to do your prayer, your meditation, and your gratitude work. All that stuff is so important for you. For you, I promise you, you start doing this stuff for yourself, you will attract people into that. Because you can tell when somebody loves themselves. It's not arrogance. It's not cockiness. It's confidence. It's confidence. That's what we want. We all want that. Because I don't need to do something stupid to get love because I carry it with me. I love myself, and God in my life loves me. In your life, it might be some other higher being loves you. And when you have that going on, you can be loved anywhere. You can be in the Sahara Desert and be loved. You don't need to go swiping right and swiping left to find love. You will attract it. And dating becomes fun because then you don't have to go out and do dumb things in the dating process. Okay? So the last list is, where did these people come from? Where am I going to find them? You know, if you've been hanging out at Joe's Corner Bar, may not be a good choice. Maybe at a museum, maybe at a concert, maybe at a friend's place. You know, surround yourself with better people. I don't know. That's your list. We got to look at it. When I look at it with you, we'll figure it out. But you got to figure out where these folks hang out. Ball games, sporting events, you know, like I said, art galleries, concerts, museums. I don't know. But you got to figure that out. And then you go there. And sonar starts to work in your brain. You got a reticulating activation system, RAS. It's sonar in your brain, and you'll attract stuff. It's pretty cool. It works. I promise you it works. All right, so that's my secret formula. Put it to use. I promise you it'll work. So we talked about health, how important your health is to you. We didn't get deep there. We got deep enough to figure out that if you're not healthy, what good are you in a relationship to anybody? You're a joke. You're a burden. And nobody wants to be a burden. Nobody. We talked about love, how to find or attract love, and how you can do it, and how you got to love yourself first. How important that is to love yourself and really, truly love yourself. We found out the different levels of love, 1, 2, and 3, and how we all want unconditional love, and we know it when we find it. We know it. We know it. It's the most amazing feeling on the planet when we attract that into our life. It is so powerful. All right? And so when we talk about life, guys, life is all of this stuff. Life is dealing with stuff that happens to you, like Viktor Frankl says, dealing with life when stuff happens. How do we deal with it? And you know what? That's 100% us. That's 100% us. And the last thing I want to end with tonight is how people There are two different kinds of people on the planet. Two. There are bouncers and there's splatterers. And I want you to evaluate yourself. Look in the mirror. And I'm not judging you. I'm loving you. Okay? I love you. I don't judge anybody. It's a waste of my time. But if you look in the mirror and when shit happens to you in your life, because it will happen to us, all of us. I did a talk one time. Don't wait till you're 50 to get kicked in the teeth. It hurts a lot more. Okay? Because shit's going to happen to you. How do you respond? Do you bounce and go, woo, boy, that was crazy. I better figure this thing out. Or do you go splat and you splatter all over the place? You end up in a corner pissing on yourself and sucking your thumb. And I'm not judging you. But if you're number two, if you're a splatterer, let's work on it. You can correct that. You can work on that. If you're a bouncer, good for you. As long as you're bouncing in a healthy way. Because, if you're just bouncing around and your life is a what mess, then that's an issue too. But, we want to be bouncers. We want to respond appropriately when life kicks us in the teeth. Okay? Because it's going to. That's what my biggest fear for these young folks are right now, the young people, and I talk to them all the time. What are you going to do when you get punched in the mouth? And it does scare me a little bit because life has been pretty good for them for a long time. But they're going to get punched in the face. And I think Mike Tyson came up with that famous quote, what are you going to do when you get punched in the mouth? I don't know. We're going to find all of us. We're all going to find out. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about with health, love, and life. And, I'm Coach Arnie. I can be found on Instagram at Coach Arnie F. I'm on Facebook. Look me up under Arnie Fonseca Jr. That's my personal page. My coaching page or my fun page is Coach Arnie. And love to have you over there. You can... I'm on LinkedIn. Those of you on LinkedIn, come on over there too. That's becoming a great platform. I'd love to talk to you over there as well. You can Google me, Coach Arnie Fonseca Jr., and you'll bring up all kind of crazy stuff about me. Been doing this for a long, long, long time. I am learning the social media a little bit more, but and I'm also going to throw out my phone number. Not that I'm going to answer the phone, but you can text me. Leave me messages, call me. I'm actually old-fashioned. I listen to all that stuff, and I respond in an appropriate amount of time. And my phone number is 602. So, Cece, go ahead and put it up there. 602-390-9144. I want people to call me. I'm a coach, and I do what's called emotional coaching, which means I respond when your emotions are being moved, okay? That's the best time to get some help, not when everybody's doing great. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. All right, hey guys, I don't want to go too far over here. I love you. This is Coach Arnie. I appreciate you coming over here, and hopefully you'll come back on next week when we're here again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have some more fun with health, love, and life with Coach Arnie. All right, guys. Thank you.